Okay, guys, I'm here today with John Danaher. Huge honor for me. Guys, we are in the middle of the coronavirus crisis here. And John called us yesterday on Saturday and said like, hey guys, I want to do something to help the community as well. So he jumped in the train and he came, and here we are on Sunday. And we just shot an entire instruction all about like BJJ solo drills that John wants to release for free this week while we are in the coronavirus, because most of the people probably like don't even have a place to train, right? As most of the jiu-jitsu schools are closing. So we appreciate that, John. That's awesome.
It's a strange thing. I got so many messages on social media over this week. It's like, what do I do? My gym's closed. How am I going to cope with this? You got to understand, Bernardo, you've been through this 1,000 times. Jiu-jitsu is a lifetime of study. Okay. One thing I've always loved about the sport of jiu-jitsu is the degree of passion which so many of the students carry. We all know guys who work busy jobs. They've got wife, they've got kids. Men and women who come in from a busy life, and yet they still find time almost every day to go in and train. I don't think you'll find any sport where the adherents of it are more passionate about what they do than jiu-jitsu. So time off it's a real problem, and many of them feel very uncomfortable with it. And we're in a situation now which is unprecedented in jiu-jitsu. There's never been a time when the majority of schools in jiu-jitsu simultaneously closed. This has never happened, and hopefully it'll never happen again. But this is an entirely new thing, and we're faced at this point with a situation where people may not be able to train for up to a month or even longer.
Yeah. Nobody knows.
No one really knows at this point. So many people were asking me, what do I do? Like, what kind of training can I do if I don't have a partner to train with? As Bernardo said, this was on like a Saturday evening. I was like, you know what? Why don't we do something? And so I called Bernardo, and he made the terrible mistake of answering the phone when I called. And next thing I know, I was on a train to Boston, and here we are. We filmed this on Sunday morning. And my intention is to give you the insights I've gained over the years coaching. I've had many students who had to go through extended periods of time off the mat. So did I. Bernardo went through it too. There's all kinds of reasons why people have to leave the mat for extended periods of time. It might be because of a family crisis. It might be because of some kind of terrible injury. It might just be because you're traveling for work. As a professional coach, I often have to travel with my students, and I can't get to the gym. In this case, it's because of the extraordinary effects of the coronavirus. There's always going to be reasons why you're taken away from the mat. And the great question we need to ask is, how will this affect my progress as a developing athlete in the sport? Will it make me worse? Is there a way to maintain my skill level? Is there a way possibly even to get better during a period of time? My experience as a coach has always been this. The only times I've ever seen people get noticeably worse with extended periods of time off the mat is when not only was their body off the mat, but their mind was off the mat also. In other words, they took time off and they didn't even think about jiu-jitsu. Then 6 months later, they came in the door, say, hey, let me try this again. And then you could see there was a noticeable drop-off in skill level. Skills that they used to be good at, they weren't good at anymore. And it took quite a long period of time before their body adjusted and they got back into the swing of things. Those were the cases where you saw the most dramatic drop-off in skill level and ability. What I've seen on many other occasions is great athletes who took very seriously the idea of active development even during periods of time when they weren't in the dojo. They were able to do this in 3 main ways. The first way is the use of solo movement drills, which is the main content of the free video which I'm going to be putting out to the jiu-jitsu community in a few days. Let's understand that people talk all the time about athleticism in sports. Okay, this guy's a great athlete, this guy's a perfect natural athlete, or what have you. All athleticism is relativized to a given area. Okay, what makes you athletic in one sport doesn't make you athletic in another. You've all seen this 1,000 times. How many times have you seen that guy who's a great athlete in a given sport come in for his first day in jiu-jitsu, and 3 minutes later he's completely exhausted, he's flopping around like a fish on the floor and can't do anything right. You try to teach him a basic armbar, he can't even get it. He was incredible at throwing a baseball or tossing a javelin, or tennis or some other sport, but at jiu-jitsu, couldn't do anything right. Same thing with jiu-jitsu guys. When you take a good jiu-jitsu player and you go try to teach him boxing, it's a disaster. He looks terrible. Like he's never been in a combat sport in his life. The skills of the various sports aren't transferable. Okay, so what jiu-jitsu needs is a set of solo drills which teach these specific movements for efficient movement on the ground, and that's the main content of this video. So the first element of getting your skills better during time off the mat is enhancing your physical capacity for movement on the floor. If you can do this, that's a huge step in the right direction. The second thing is the physical shape of your body. Okay, if during time off you simply just sit around, you're going to notice pretty quick deteriorations in strength, flexibility, and quite likely weight gain, which is not useful for the sport and even detrimental. So you're going to need some kind of supplemental physical program designed to enhance strength, conditioning, flexibility, and keep weight under control. So some kind of dietary and physical conditioning program is the second element of your program. As I was explaining to Bernardo, over the years I've seen every different kind of physical conditioning program. No one of them stood out as superior to any of the others. All of them were effective for different athletes. What I suggest is you find one which you're comfortable with and which you can stick with for a period of time. And the third key element, this is the one that is dear to our souls because we're involved in this industry, is the idea of knowledge acquisition. Always understand skill as embodied knowledge. What determines winner and loser in the sport of jiu-jitsu is skill level. Okay, there are other elements involved, but that's by far and away the most important one. All skill begins as knowledge in the mind. If you don't have a general idea of what you're trying to do as you develop that skill, the skill's never going to solidify or even arise. My suggestion to you is if you can't work on skills in the dojo, work on knowledge outside of the dojo. If you can get strong in these three areas, body movement skills, a strength and conditioning program, and increase your knowledge, you're going to find when it's time to come back, you do very, very well on the mats. You'll find there's no drop-off whatsoever, and in fact, you may actually be doing better in some regards because you're moving better. Your physical body is as good as it ever was, and you know things you didn't know before. And because you have better movement skills, you can embody that knowledge and turn it into skill in a much faster rate than you were previously. Using this simple three-step approach, I've taken many athletes who had gone through serious amounts of time off the mat and come back very, very successfully. I'll give you some examples. George St. Pierre tore his ACL twice. In both cases, he was out of training for around 6 to 8 months before anything could happen. During that time, I used that same simple three-step pattern that I've outlined to you. Whatever kind of strength and conditioning you can do, it may not always be much just because you're coming out of surgery. In some cases, in the coronavirus example, your body's fine, so you can do full power strength and conditioning programs. He worked on the body skills, which he could do post-surgery, and increase the intensity of these and the breadth and width of these as his knee improved, and a huge amount of knowledge acquisition. I was sending him videos. I would film every day and then send him a video of some move, some technique, some concept, and he would watch it at night. Gordon Ryan is another fine example. He had a catastrophic knee injury before his most successful ADCC appearance, and up until 1 month before ADCC happened, there was genuine doubt about whether he would be able to do the tournament. But every single day, even when he was at his most depressed, and it's perfectly natural to feel depressed when you're off the mat. These guys are professional athletes. That's what they do for their living, to take months at a time off the mat when normally they're there 3 times a day, every day. Suddenly they can't do anything. It looks like everyone in the gym could easily beat them when they were dominant before. It's a hard thing to go through. I made Gordon come in and sit next to me, and I would teach classes, and he would have to watch the students. And I would call to him, Gordon, what's going to happen in the next 3 seconds? And he would have to tell me. And in this way, his mind was actively engaged, watching jiu-jitsu every single day. Then when it was time to come back, he only had about 2 months of physical training before ADCC and a long time off the mats. He was still doing basic physical therapy a month out from the competition. And yet, 2 weeks before, his body seemed to finally gel, and he went out and had the performance of a lifetime. You guys know the rest of the story. My point to you is, people can spend quite considerable periods of time off the mat and get very, very good results when they come back. Some of George St. Pierre's greatest fights came right after his ACL surgery, his fight with Carlos Condit. A month before that fight, Faraz Sahabi and I were seriously pondering the idea of just saying, no, you can't fight, because it just didn't look like he was ready to go. But by keeping to that simple 3-step program, body movement, strength and conditioning program as a supplement, and knowledge acquisition, when you come back, there's going to be a very quick growth spurt during that initial phase back, where you're moving better than you were before, you know things you didn't used to know, and you have a physical condition in your body to be able to sustain a high work rate when you come back and hit the ground running, so to speak. If you can do these 3 things, I'm very, very confident that you, as a developing student, can, no matter how long this crisis lasts, go through it and come back better on the mats. That's my intention with this free video.
Yeah, guys, I agree 100%, and I think like you can always find a way to train. So, for example, if you injure your legs, you can work your upper body, right? You can do moves that you don't need to use your legs, and you can watch videos. In this case, for example, the coronavirus, maybe you cannot go to your school, but you can do solo moves at home. You can watch videos at home, instructionals or competition, whatever. And
when I say watch videos, this isn't just a cheap sell where we're saying, hey, why videos? Watch world champions. You can go. We live in a privileged age where you can go on YouTube now and watch the greatest people in this sport anytime, any place, and learn. Okay. What I'm asking you to do is to keep an active mind. Some people will go with instructional videos because perhaps they don't have the time or the expertise to be able to look at a world champion.
To go search on YouTube and figure out.
Or they might just not be in the sport long enough to know, hey, I see what that guy's doing, I can do that. They don't need, all they see is random movement. In those cases, instructional videos make good sense. But if you're already at a high skill level and you can look at world championships in operation and make intelligent guesses about what they're trying to do as they perform the movements, then absolutely do that. This isn't a sell, this is just a simple point that knowledge acquisition is your best friend when it's time out of the dojo. And that's going to come, if it can't come by physical means, by the usual route of training, then it's come by a mental means through observation.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think like in this case, for example, the coronavirus, like if you're at home, if you have a kettlebell, you can work out with kettlebell. You can do body moves using your body weight. You can do like jiu-jitsu solo moves. You can watch videos. You can talk with friends about jiu-jitsu. There is so much to do like in this
the main
time
thing,
off.
Stay in the game.
Yeah, no, I agree.
If you can't do it physically, do it mentally.
Yeah.
Because of the unique nature of the coronavirus, none of these people are injured out of the gym. They're just inactive because they can't get in the gym because this is the way the virus works. So there's a sense in which you have your full body capacity. You're not like someone who's coming out of surgery who just can't even move. So there's a unique opportunity here for all of us to take this 3-step approach. Work on your supplemental strength and conditioning, flexibility and diet program. Work on the specific body movements of jiu-jitsu, which are radically different from other sports. As I said, every sport has its own kind of athleticism, and the athleticism for excellence in jiu-jitsu is very different from other sports. And then work on your knowledge acquisition. Okay, you work with those 3 things, you're going to come back better than ever.
Yeah. So guys, we are really trying our best here to support the community at this tough time. So I gave away one of my videos like starting last Friday. Now John came here yesterday. He jumped on the train 7 p.m. We talked, it was like 5:30 or so. So just had time enough. And probably by the end of the week as well, we're gonna do the biggest sale that we ever done on BJJ Fanatics, also to support the instructors, as most of them are Jiu-Jitsu school owners. So the schools are closed, people are canceling, and I hope, like, I'm worried about how many Jiu-Jitsu schools might close the doors after this crisis.
No, it's a sad thing. Jiu-Jitsu is your average Jiu-Jitsu school is going to struggle with this. There's even some of the biggest schools, they have bigger bills, and there's no getting around the fact this is a potential crisis for the Jiu-Jitsu community. So anything we can do to band together is good. I wanted to do something for the community by just giving out a free video on how to get better during this time when you're away from the mat. I think there's something we can all do to try and pull the sport. We all love the sport. As I said, I've never been involved in a sport that was so much passion on the part of the people involved.
I agree.
And I think that's going to be the best savior for our sport over the next few months. The fact that there is that much passion, there is that much sense of involvement, there's that much love for the schools that they come from, etc., etc. That's the greatest thing which can pull us through this potential crisis.
No, John, I always think I think the Jiu-Jitsu community is something very special. I don't see that in other sports or in other hobbies or anything like that. And sometimes I receive so many messages that I almost have the feeling that if I ever need anything and I make a post on Instagram, someone's gonna help me out. So it's such a great feeling. So I think that's it, guys. And probably this week still we're gonna release this instructional from John about the solo drills.
No, Bernardo, we're going to release that on the BJJ Fanatics website, is that
correct? At bjjfanatics.com, as always. And
it's 100% free. It's coming out very soon. And Bernardo, we filmed it today, and
it was fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, guys. Thank you. Please help me out to grow my YouTube channel. Just click subscribe. And to watch more videos, just click under see more videos. I hope you enjoyed.
BJJFanatics.com. Use the promo code YouTubeFaria to get 10% off any instructional video. Improve your jiu-jitsu faster.